My name is Lisa Bost-Sandberg. I'm a flutist, composer, and improviser. I teach at the University of North Dakota. I teach our flute studio and our music entrepreneurship course. I have been deeply involved in new music for a very long time now. I remember being an undergrad and being at the University of Iowa and getting to be around students and faculty members who were composing music. And I just found that so magical, taking the notes on the page and them being premiered live for the first time. And I just very, very naturally sort of stepped into that world and spent more and more time with new music.
And Mike, why don't you, tell us who you are a little bit?
I'm Mike McFerrin. I'm a professor of music at Lewis University. I'm also their composer in residence and currently the chair of the music department. I am the founder and now co-director of Electronic Music Midwest Festival. We'll be doing our festival in March at Lewis University. Lewis is in the Chicagoland area.
I think my first EMM festival was 2008. I remember vividly what it was like when I walked in and kind of met everyone. I think you were right there by the table, and I was there to perform a piece by a colleague. And I remember immediately that it was just a really, really wonderful, welcoming crew. I could feel how seamlessly the team seemed to have everything in order. I loved the concerts. I loved the fact that there was more room in the schedule to be able to visit and talk and dig into the music. Just over the last couple of years, I'd been going, man, I need to get back to EMM. And I'd been making sort of plans for something to propose, or would the schedule work for me this year? Or when could I be there or whatnot? And then all of a sudden, as if it was meant to be, I get this email from Mike that asked me if I would be the guest artist for the 2025 festival. And I will say getting that email, but then especially getting to come do the festival, was absolutely one of my highlights of the year. This is a festival that I love for its top quality people and just top quality, like, personal experience all around.
You were always a joy to work with at EMM, and that's a big criteria for us when we go to choose a performer. Is this somebody we'd want to hang out with, have a beer with afterwards? Music is important, of course. It is Electronic Music Midwest, right? But at the end of the day, it's about building community and finding opportunities for people to get together and collaborate and chat about what they do and why they do it, and bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes just hang out. And that's really has been a lot of the driving force behind EMM for years, which is how can we create a festival where people feel welcomed and people also have time to, put things into perspective of what's important. And building relationships is one of those things that I think everybody on the board agrees is really important and a big part of EMM.
Do you want to talk about some pieces?
Sarah Bassingthwaighte's piece, Iridium. And when Sarah proposed this to EMM, I noticed in the proposal it said, it can be done as a flute duo if desired, or one of the flute parts can be put in the track. And I went, oh gosh, I know where she's going with this. Sarah and I are going to perform together. That was really, really fun to get to meet Sarah for the first time and get to know each other a little bit and dive in and get to play this piece together. I will say that as soon as you announced me as the guest from the year before, was it Michael Hall? Does that sound right?
Yep, the violist, Michael Hall. Yep.
He immediately friended me on Facebook
Hmm.
and basically started writing like, this is the most amazing festival. If you've got a flute work, you've got to submit.
Oh.
And so I mean, I will say the same thing. I've said it already on here, but I have just had the absolute most tremendous experience with EMM in every year I've been involved with it, in every way I've been involved with it. I am excited to submit some of my pieces as a composer, for the future. I'm excited to get back and be part of it again. And I'm just so grateful. Your whole team is absolutely extraordinary. And I'm so grateful for all that you do, because it is a truly special festival.
Hello, I am Michael Hall. I am a person who loves bringing so much creativity that everybody out in the world is working so hard to give birth to it. Composers. I'm a violist, and I love so much music out in the world, but I'm particularly interested in like that collaborative process. The whole idea of friendship first, and the piece is the celebration of that whole friendship, basically. I've been playing viola all of my life. I've grew up with the C string and the alto clef. All of the endless and ceaseless months and years of practicing that little wooden box with 4 strings has been a godsend. It's sent me around the world multiple times, performing at festivals and meeting people like yourself and composers, helping to create something that will hopefully outlast ourselves and be usable, and not only usable, but celebratory and speaking of life for future generations. And I live in Chicago. I teach at Carthage College, and I'm also the co-founder and artistic director of the first professional orchestra in Indonesia, the Bandung Philharmonic.
So had you known about EMM before Mike contacted you?
I had, and I'd gone to a couple of their concerts, actually. Living in Chicago, I'm able to every once in a while, on alternating years, go to the festival that is held in suburban Chicago. So I had gone a couple times to that festival. I think the first time I went was to Sarah Plum's when she was the featured performer. And it was because of her exposure and posting and talking about it that I was introduced to the entire festival. And it was wonderful because it was just like, I don't know, it was like walking into somebody's living room and just sitting down and hey, let's share some tunes. It was incredibly inviting, absolutely super professionally produced. Everybody knew what they were doing in terms of all the gear, the tech, the setup, the logistics. And anytime you're doing not just new music, but you're doing concerts produced with fixed media, playback, DAW system, video, and everything can go wrong. And I can tell you, just every time I've ever been to an EMM festival, it's like, wow, this is impressive. Everybody's like making this look easy. And having done some of those type of events prior to my experience at EMM, I know some of the nightmares that can happen. When I received the email one summer about being the featured performer for the following year, I was like beside myself. I was like, yes. I mean, fine, this is like an amazing event. The fact that stuff gets done, it gets presented professionally, and you're shedding light on composers who are really deeply deserving that exposure and having their pieces realized. It was fun because I ended up wanting to choose pieces that would really challenge me and make me grow as well. And that festival, wow, that threw an entire arsenal at me and of choices and repertoire. And it was fun because not only did I get introduced to people who I had already known, but also introduced to composers I'd never heard of. And that's a gift. I'm like, oh my gosh, how has this person been composing for 20 years? And I've never heard of them. I mean, and this is good. This is really convincing and exciting and colorful. And so it was very educational and eye-opening for me to be a part of this festival, because it's such a, there's no focus, even though it's all electronic accompaniment or based or fixed media or live electronics. The aesthetics are all over the place. One of the pieces I played was like an homage to 1980 8-bit video music, game music. And
that was with Zane Merritt, right?
Yes, Zane, in Buffalo, New York. And I had never met Zane before the festival or had heard his music prior to this. He's a guitarist mainly. And it's fascinating. His love of video game music kind of poured into this, and nostalgia of 1980s and 1990s video game music was really coming into play in this piece he wrote for me. And the violist is kind of almost like the player that trying to negotiate all of these mazes and obstacles that the music is presenting. And it is just a pure joy to play. I played it several times since EMM Festival, actually, and people love it. Yeah, EMM, it's a magical experience. I have no idea how many hundreds of pieces it's premiered and presented over the course of its, how many years now has it been going?
It's going to be 25 next year.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hundreds and hundreds. It's jump-started careers for people. It's been the inspiration to push composers' own aesthetic and technical abilities. It's pushed them socially to interact and get people to play their pieces. It's also made a greater musical community acknowledge the existence of pieces for acoustic instruments and electronic accompaniment, live or fixed, with video or anything. But at the heart of all of this really is community. That's where stuff gets done. And that's where the real relationships happen. And EMM is just one of those places that feels like a big family and a different featured performer every year.
Yeah.
Our guest performer this year is Mary Hubble. Mary is a wonderful soprano. Mary is the first featured performer who's a vocalist at EMM. I first met Mary maybe 2006 or 7. You were doing composer voice concerts at the church in Manhattan, and I was blown away by her voice. She's just a really all around great musician. She's just going to be fantastic. I'm really excited that she has agreed to come do this.
And Mary is with us now. Let me bring her on. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I'm originally from South Carolina, and I found myself in New York, where I met you many years ago, was working on my DMA in voice at the City University of New York Graduate Center. Previously, I'd studied in the Royal Conservatory in The Hague, so I used to live in the Netherlands. Now I live near Amherst, Massachusetts, and I just sing whenever anyone asks me because I love to sing. So there you go.
Hear that, everybody? Send her lots of scores.
Yeah.
So what type of stuff do you sing?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think these days my deepest love is, I think, art song. But I love new music. When I lived in the Netherlands, I did a lot of new music. There's a big new music scene there. I sang in the Iridium Festival in Amsterdam, and with the Apeldoorn Festival, I worked with Louis Andriessen, and we did a big thing with Steve Reich. So I did a lot of new music. I used to do a lot of early music as well, which I also really love. But these days, it's a lot of chamber. I do a lot of oratorio work. And I do a lot of art song whenever I can, because, like I said, that's a great love of mine. Yeah,
this is the highlight of my week. I guess, talking about music with people and what we do. It's just, So thank you guys, and thank you, Rob, for the invitation.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Very, very happy to be here and to do this. This is fantastic.